Hey there, it's Wayfair here, where delivery and setup are as easy as a few taps on your phone. You're relaxing in an old hammock, scrolling Wayfair's app, when you spot it, a brand new patio set. Next thing you know, Wayfair delivers it right to your patio and sets it up. Oh, you need a new grill too? All right, Wayfair's got you covered. With Wayfair's Room of Choice delivery and fast expert setup on qualifying orders, life gets a little easier. Visit wayfair.com or the Wayfair app.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
It's time for the Larry H. Miller Utah Summer Games at Southern Utah University in Cedar City. Register today to participate in the 40th anniversary season of a Utah sports tradition at utahsummergames.org. Participate in over 50 sports around the state. Then plan to join the opening ceremonies Friday, June 5th, presented by State Bank of Southern Utah. Register today to participate in the 40th anniversary season of the Larry H. Miller Utah Summer Games.
DJ and PK, it's 97.5 KSL Sports Zone. You know the cliche, and it's a cliche because it's true. The only constant is change. Stuff is always changing. Now, not everybody's comfortable with change. And I hate it personally when someone lectures me on, not everyone's comfortable with change. Yeah, I am. I just don't like the change you're proposing because you're an idiot and you're going to sink this company. Not to go into specific meetings from 15 years ago that still haunt me, but that one does. I need to get over that. Yuck, what's the statute of limitations on stuff that should irritate me? That was several employers and general managers ago.
I think we all hold on to stuff like that.
Oh, we do?
You never.
Oh, so I have the okay? I can let that keep bothering me?
Sure. May not bother you, but.
Oh, it bothers me.
Okay, well, that means.
You have to embrace change. Yeah, but not that one. It's idiotic.
There's probably. Okay. That indicates
you're going to drive the company into ground, you're going to leave the industry, and you're going to leave the state. And you live in Colorado now. What are you thinking?
Well.
Oh, that was also more than 15 years ago. I'm bad with time.
Sounds like some trauma is unresolved here.
Worked out great for me. Oh, my gosh. But you do have to embrace some change because not all change is idiotic and crazy. Some is uncomfortable, and then things get better. And we were talking earlier, and George, actually, a couple hours ago, we heard George Kittle talk about the 18-game schedule. I'm old enough to remember when the NFL played 14 games. I didn't know why they were going to 16, and then my dad told me. You know what he told me? Money. That's why they're going to 16. You play more games. They're going to sell more tickets. There's going to be more games on TV. There's going to be more truck commercials, and everybody's going to make more money. You know what Dad was? He was right. So Kittle was talking about the 18-game season. He says they have to have a second bye. Agreed. And I think that's part of the plan. I think it'll happen. I think that's generally agreed upon. I think the TV networks are encouraging it. Why? More money. Now we'll have 20 weeks of football to sell truck commercials in the regular season, even though there's 18 games. So the NFL owners are thinking, hey, well, cap will go up. We'll all make more money. Let's do it. And more change in college football. West Virginia coach Rich Rodriguez at the Big 12 coaches meeting supporting the expansion to a 24-team college football playoff. We talked with Mitch Harper at 8 o'clock. Yaak will get that up if he hasn't already. He will soon. And that'll be out wherever you can get your podcast. If you didn't hear Mitch, he talked about that. Oddly, the Big 12 isn't into the automatic berths. There's a plan out there where they do this 24-team tournament, and one of the ideas that's been thrown out is the 4 power leagues each get 4 automatic berths, and the Group 5 gets an automatic berth, and that's 17. And then the committee decides the 7 at-large berths and the seeding, who gets buys and who gets home games. And there's more money in it. I think it'll happen. And everyone's focused on the TV money. And to do this, they're going to have to get rid of the conference title games, which I'm fine with. Fine. And they got to make more money. And then ESPN and Fox are fighting over who gets to televise the games and all that kind of stuff. And that is a big impediment, and that's got to be worked out. But the thing that's going to drive the money, I think, is if you have 16 teams playing home games and you have some teams playing 2 home games, because I think the quarterfinals will move on campus. I think that's pretty clear that's where that's headed. The semis may go roast and sugar bowls, and the finals will move around the country and be bid out for more cash. But I think the quarterfinals are going on campus. So you've got 12 teams that get to play 1 home game and 4 teams that get to play 2. I think what that's going to do for season ticket sales and luxury suite and premium seating, not just of the 16 schools that get to host, obviously they'll make money, but everybody will make money up front. Well, not everybody. But I think 30 or 40 schools can make money up front because they might be one of the 16 that gets a home game. You know, that a couple of years ago, Penn State would have had one. Last year, they wouldn't. BYU could be in a situation, or Utah could be in a situation where they get a home game. Texas Tech definitely would be. So change is coming. And that is why we're having our next guest on, Bronco Mendenhall, Utah State football coach. Coach, good morning. Welcome to the show.
Good morning. How are you?
I am doing well this morning. You know, you're one of my favorite coaches for a reason you may not know. You may not even remember this, Bronco, but I'm going to go ahead and tell this story. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
When I'm playing high school basketball, you know, the coach will send you to the game and get you all fired up. He'll turn around and he'll pat you on the butt. That's not something that happens a lot in life, right? I graduated from high school. I stopped playing basketball. We're done with the butt patting. For like 30 years, one coach has patted me on the butt. Do you know who that was, Bronco?
Not sure.
It was Bronco Mendenhall.
What?
Do you have no recollection of this?
I don't.
Okay, so it's because of a specific interview, and I think it's because for 2 minutes I rescued you from a mind-numbing series of questions about, I don't know, the health of some outside linebacker or something. And you do the media thing because it's part of the job, but it's not your favorite part of the job. And it's not your second favorite part of the job, but you do it because it's part of the job. So at one point you wrote a book, and the book got done. It was very close to being marketed. It was actually up on the web. Somebody found it. It got passed along to me, and someone I was working at Channel 2 at the time said, hey, you got to go down and interview Bronco about this. And you were in the indoor facility. It was late in the season. It was dark out. It was cold. And so there were the typical questions. And I asked you that, and you got like 3 questions on it. And I left to go talk to somebody else and ask them mind-numbing questions about an outside linebacker. And as I walked, you I don't know if you're trying to slap me on the back or something. I just had the feeling you were like, oh, thank goodness. 3 minutes of something borderline interesting. Thank you for saving me. So
I appreciate you remembering, and man, that's great. I'll have to make a note to do that more often.
No, I got to earn it. I don't want anything gratuitous, Bronco.
Yes, you do.
I got to earn it.
Yes, you do.
So I want to have you on because we're hearing so much about AI. We're hearing so much about computers. And in full disclosure, there's a guy who you probably only work with peripherally because he does more of the PR for this company, this tool Answers, that you're using. And I've known him since college radio, and he's worked for the Pac-12 and the 49ers. We've always stayed in touch. He's hilarious. Probably puts on a professional appearance around you, but that's total fraud. I'm here to tell you. He's hilarious. But he said, your boy Bronco is using his computers. And we all hear about these coaches. I grew up with Don Coryell at San Diego State, went to San Diego Chargers. I don't know if you ever met him, but you probably know the name. He and Joe Gibbs in Washington, when Joe Gibbs was winning Super Bowls, these guys are famous for sleeping in the office 3 hours a night, and they're in there working. And even 14-year-old me was like, that sounds crazy. Who would want to do that? You sound like the polar opposite of that. Does that still exist in the coaching world? Because you've gone the other way from it, and we'll get to how you're doing that here in a second.
Certainly, it's still the way. And it's one of the few professions, I'm sure there are others that I don't know about, but it's one of the few professions where people brag about how many hours they work. Like it is a badge of courage or a badge of honor or something that societally increases status. You know, and I hear it from my colleagues frequently as head coaches or as staffs. You know, my staff is working and our, so-and-so, my coordinators, they don't go home till Thursday. They sleep in their offices Tuesday and Wednesday. And I think what the message is supposed to be is how committed and how driven and how determined they are to win. And I think all those things are true. I do. But I also think there's an indictment toward inefficiency and really poor organizational design. And quite frankly, really poor time management. And I think you can be radically driven and fiercely committed and have amazing win-loss records and do it smarter, more effectively, and quite frankly, more efficiently, that allows more autonomy, more purpose, more mastery, and quite frankly, better results. And I don't know of many others. I've never asked you, and I've never heard you say, yeah, I'm doing an amazing job. I work 17 hours every week, and my peers are only working 15 hours. And like that's supposed to now have me think that you're better than. Yeah. And in our industry, much like you just said, along the way, somewhere culturally, that was now viewed as superior or desirable and maybe even necessary. And I'd like to push back on the necessary part. While certainly my record isn't perfect, sustainability and number of wins and et cetera, in terms of objective metrics where you're looking to build trust, and trust is a lot of times done with objective metrics, right? Not just opinion. And I think you can be, and I think moms are amazing at this. They have so many different things going. I don't ever hear them brag about how many hours they spent working to develop their kids. You know, you do what you have to do, but they're also looking for every chance possible to renew, every chance possible to connect with a friend, every chance possible to find a date night with the husband, every chance possible to serve in their church calling. They're looking to do it all, and they're viewing that as desirable. And that to me is a more comprehensive and effective way to live and also to perform.
So back in the day, coaches were staying up all hours to cut up film and to get all the situational stuff. What does this opponent do on third and short, third and long? Make sure you got your eyes on all the trick plays, right? Both sides of the ball. And now fast forward this computerized world. So you're using this program Answers, and I've heard about schools turning it down. You've embraced it, and, you know, it kind of falls into the old dog, new tricks. You might think, oh, there's some up-and-coming coach who has embraced this new computer program, but you feel like you get all the prep work done and get out of the building.
Yeah, and really the goal, and I think I'd frame that is I don't want us out of the building unless our accomplishments and our framed tasks and our rhythm and cadence is exactly dialed in, and we're completely prepared within what was assigned for that day within our weekly plan, which will help us achieve our outcome. And I'm always looking for ways that speed up processes with more efficiency, more accuracy, more productivity, and more yield, right? And so that happens through the categorization of work. And so you probably have heard this before, but at the top level, there's what's called competitive work, right? Each job, my job has a level of competitive work. Underneath that has competitive enabling work. Underneath that is business essential work. Really, underneath business essential, there's compliance work. The rest of it's to be eliminated. I only want to do things that make a difference in my job that work, and I don't want to do work beneath what's going to make the most difference. So to your point, and what Answers and other tools that the industry has, the speed, the efficiency, the accuracy, helping us be nimble and being able to adjust in real time and make decisions ahead of schedule and shave time to then make the decisions necessary on game planning, which leads to execution, which leads to outcome. If that's working more accurately, more precisely, more efficiently and faster, man, I'm all for that, because that affects the bottom line. It also affects quality of life. And so that program is allowing more of our staff and more of our organization to be working on their competitive work with accurate background, sub-background work that provides us the framework then to make the decisions on.
You, as you point out, there's objective metrics. You can't cut back on the work and start losing games. That doesn't work.
Right.
But you want at BYU, you want at Virginia, turn those programs around. New Mexico was very short stay, but you could see progress being made there.
Yep.
Inevitably, your guys get hired away. There's schools with more money. You just lost your offensive coordinator to Utah, for example. I was surprised.
Second one.
Okay. I was surprised that one of the advantages of this is you don't lose all that institutional knowledge. You can hold on to that with the program, and this is a way to give you an edge, even though your coaches are getting hired away, which is what you want because it means you're winning. But this is a way to help you shorten the cycle when you have to bring someone new in and get them up to speed.
Listen, and part of the world of college football now is transitory and change. Our roster will have 53% of it, meaning there's new player. 53% of our roster will be new. That's fairly typical in college football. I can't tell you the exact number, but my guess is between 50 and 60% of most college teams right now are turning over. Mm-hmm. And so if that happens, the guiding principles of the program, the culture of the program, the leader of the program, if that can remain constant, you have an anchor, right? Then anyone coming in is onboarded into that system. If you have leadership changes, besides the cultural and the technical and the tactical, you also have the processes that are anchors. And so what a program like Answers can do is, this is the way that we gather data. This is the way that we formulate game plans. This is the way that we do it. And so that allows someone new. Again, I lost my coordinator, Jason Beck, to Utah from New Mexico.
Yep.
Kevin McGiven just left. So that's fine. Robert now Anaya is back with me. When they come into our program, here is the way that, and I don't think there's a better way in college football. And they learn then an existing system, are onboarded to it, rather than us have to then have a brand new system. Besides the schematics, we then save time because of the existing processes that have already been proven, tried, and continue to be updated and become more effective. And that allows a baseline for them to operate from, which makes us faster, and it gives them more, makes them more comfortable. It also makes them more effective. So it's an anchor, another anchor, right? Besides the leadership of the head coach, besides the principles of the program, besides the cultural elements that are anchored, there's processes that are anchored that they can be onboarded to, which allows the program actually to be consistent regardless of the personnel that's coming in or going out.
Does this help you in the transfer portal? Does Answers actually help you break down other players at other schools? Because I've always wondered, how in the world are you keeping track of a couple thousand players, some of whom will go in the portal, some don't, and you don't know who, and then you don't know what positions you need to backfill because you're not sure exactly who's leaving you. It seems like that's a mountain of work.
Well, so here's the thing regarding that, and I won't speak to that exact point. What I will say is if your staff is designed more of a SEAL team than an infantry, which I prefer, I'd rather fewer people to be stretched than a lot of people sitting around. But what that allows is when you have tools, it allows that work to be done without having to add an extra person or staff to do that work, right? So I can have an amazing system basically doing the work of a department overseen by an individual, not five, right? An individual who's mining that, and all that work is being done at a really high level where we can be lean and nimble and efficient as a staff. And that's, I prefer that design. The next part that you brought up is with players coming and going. You mentioned the transfer portal. This is similar in the NFL. Many systems in the NFL, offensively and defensively, are similar, not identical, but there's a design element when you think about franchises and a workforce moving amongst franchises. The faster they can get up and running, the faster they can play and perform. And so as a new player comes in, what this allows us to do is to streamline our assignments based on accuracy of background knowledge, to then only ask them to do things that we know will work with methodologies that are already really well defined, so they can play the position at a new place in a new scheme faster than if we didn't have all the knowledge and system to support that. Because who has time now in the transfer portal to bring a player in to develop him and have him then yield year three? That's the exact opposite of why I use the portal. So the systems allow us to have faster onboarding and execution, which is then yield, which then is the return on investment in the portal.
You deal so much with high schools. Do they use this? I mean, there are coaches out there who are like teaching classes. When do they have time to break down film? Because the thing I see watching high school sports is all these high school teams today could crush my high school teams. They could crush my friend's soccer team. They could crush my friend's football team. They could crush my basketball team. It's getting better by leaps and bounds.
Well, one of the coolest things is when I was coaching at BYU, before I was watching the quality of high school football each year just take off. We had really good in-state college coaches, and those programs were really thriving. And you could just see this transformation. I leave and go to Virginia, step away from coaching at New Mexico, and I came back. And what a refreshing, just amazing view to me to see Utah high school football from what I had seen to now where it is. The emphasis, the quality, the coaching. But to your point, I can't tell you how many are using this particular product or products like it. But what I can say is if they're not, with teaching classes or teaching driver's ed or whatever other things, right, they have going. And right, some are not even working at the school. They have a regular job, and then they come to coach their high school team. The efficiency and the reduction of manpower with increased results, man, that's a desirable place to be. Now, I know NFL teams are, and I know college teams are. At the high school level, I'm certain there are some, whether it's this product or not. But if they're not, and if they're not, it's probably the administrations are like, man, I'm not sure the cost and et cetera. That's absorbed so quickly in terms of the maximization of the performance of the leader and the players and sustainability for that leader to do the job. It allows, a chance for the program to grow and mature. Or you can just hire more people, but they actually have jobs and other things to be doing, right? And so who then is doing all the data analytics work to make the right decisions? And so I think it's a really wise investment, especially with underfunded, under-resourced, or leaders that are really stretched thin.
I am stunned. I went to high school football games a couple nights a week for a long time, reporting and gathering highlights and coming back. And then I moved into a role. I was in studio more, and I could see a lot more games because so many games are streamed now. And I was watching schools like Morgan and Richfield, 3A and 4A schools, and I was blown away by how good the football was. Really. And the kids may not be big enough, and they may not be fast enough for you. Those kids may only come along. But, the football's good. The football's really good.
It is good, and I would use the analogy. There's amazing FCS programs. There's amazing Division II programs. You see some of the best coaches now that have had success at Division II. All they need is an opportunity to scale their organization, right? They already know how to win, and now they're given more resources. The scale changes, but they still have similar results. The grit, the determination, the fortitude, and some of the cultural values that exist in Richfield or Morgan or Beaver. As you think about places like that, with the right leader, the right coaching, there's some cultural areas that communities bring that add a competitive advantage of really hard work, right? And self-reliance. And these kids that, I don't know, they've been doing chores since 6, driving the truck around. They can't even see over the dashboard, and they're feeding 200 head of cattle. And now they're given the right coach and the right resources. They become pretty formidable. And that can happen inner city as well, right? So I guess my point is what we're talking about allows the structural part of a program to bring to life the cultural part and allows the leader to really bring that all together to have the results that the community wants, but also the administration, but also the parents and the players.
So do you use this now that you're in a new league? You have a lot of new opponents, new coaches. Some of them will be familiar, but some of them will not be familiar. Some of the programs may have been really off your radar. I don't know how much you were following Texas State. Obviously, San Diego State and Fresno State are making the move with you, as is CSU and Boise. So have you used it to dope out these new teams and try to figure out what it is you're going to be facing in the fall?
Sure. In two capacities, we've used it to drill down deeper on existing teams that we know. So you can even ask more specific questions because the reference point we have is already further along. With the new opponents, we've used it to catch us up to what do they do. And then after contemplation, we basically assign an entire week through summer, June and July on each new opponent. And so then we can ask questions deep enough. So we use it first to get up to speed. Then after contemplation, we use it further to then drill down deeper. Once we have a baseline understanding, all that is so fast and so accurate that allows then when we play that opponent in season, we're starting from a point of reference. Once we've added the new data, once we've seen them play this year, that's being updated, by the way, after every play in real time. We don't have to go back and do that. That's happening while they're playing. And it's already done by the time we hit the opponent. And so, again, for someone in a program and an organization that chooses that Sunday to be off, right, we need to maximize every second of every day in the work week. And that's already we don't have to now use additional time to do that because it's already being updated in real time.
Yeah, even the teams well, like San Diego State, I mean, their defense was really good, so naturally Texas Tech came in and took a guy, A&M came in and took a guy, Nebraska came in and took 2 players, plus they had some seniors, so even a team you're familiar with is going to have a very, very new look.
That's it, and so you hit on a really good point. The known teams and the known coaches have a known style, but they're still radically different because of the number of players that are changing in today's game. And so really researching, and there's all kinds of analytics that you can have on each player now. So besides the schematics that we've already talked about and the decision making, we're also using it for personnel assessment. And just like, the NFL, they do their research for sure, but the amount of volume of knowledge and cut-ups and film and run plays, pass plays, plays they're beat, plays they're successful, exterior plays, internal plays, pulling plays. You can see a player from every possible angle in any possible cut-up. All you have to do is just ask, and here it comes in real time. And you can make those assessments, and then in addition to the schematic and the overall knowledge, those two things come together. My job then is to make the right decisions, schemes, and strategies to leverage and exploit those things. But it's not because we don't have enough information. It's because I will have made a poor decision on just not applying it correctly, or we didn't design something well enough to take advantage of.
Yeah. Well, Bronco, thanks for pulling the curtain back, because I think we all wonder how this works with so many players changing, so many coaches changing. How do you try to keep some kind of competitive edge and not work around the clock? Because that's just going to burn people out. That's not going to yield great results in the long run. That can only work in the short run.
Well, I think one of the things that all anyone really has to do is just look at the number of athletic directors retiring or stepping down.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not hard to see what's happening, and quite frankly, to have longevity as the head coach. I'm one of the oldest now in college football.
Yeah.
Most don't last because they're not successful enough to last. Many don't last because of the way and what the lifestyle requires, and the stress and all that. It just is something they either can't do any longer or choose not to do any longer, or they can't make sense of doing it. And so many in the industry, especially in today's landscape, are just saying they're questioning, can I do this any longer, and is it worth it? If any leader in any industry is at that space, resources help. That doesn't necessarily just mean more manpower. It also means the right systems. And that can allow possibly a hair more renewal, right? I didn't say weeks worth, but it can allow a hair more. Yeah. It can allow some more balance. Yeah. It can allow a bit more, and all those things add up. And the industry right now is probably, and I can't verify this, but at least at the athletic director level, might be losing more than I've ever seen in my career of the volume of turnover at that level.
Yeah. I always wondered why Bob Stoops walked away. He was such a good coach, but he walked away and he's not coming back. he'll do the UFL thing in the spring, but that's a different beast.
Easy to understand from my seat why. And there's different personalities and different principled leaders that environments have different effects on. And, if there are coaches that are really trying to do it the right way, right meaning character development, strong moral compass, teaching values, the development of a human being, comprehensive. I don't get asked about academics very much on official visits by parents or players. I don't get asked about comprehensive development. How many service hours do you give? What's your team's GPA? How many kids are you putting? What are the jobs the kids are getting? The things that are a little bit longer horizoned, I rarely get asked now. Usually what parents and players want to know, certainly the depth, what their role might be, and how much money. Yeah. And so if you think about why you might coach or why you might do your job, if the motive of those coming to join your organization doesn't align with why you're doing your job, right? You somehow there's a new test of helping them see that while they're doing the other, can you do both? And so with Bob Stoops or others, that's a harder job, right? It's more labor intensive. And so I think there's part of the stress point for many leaders in the environment choosing.
So many players are in their third or fourth school. Last thing before we let you go, I know you're busy, but they're in their third or fourth school. Are these kids graduating? Are they all going to school in summer school to get credits to make up the stuff that they lose? How is that working? Is that working?
So I don't think it's working, but maybe put it this way. Sometimes if you hear a young man on his third or fourth school, it's just like people like, that's so negative. Mm-hmm. I've seen the opposite. Yes, there are downsides. Certainly academic progress is a challenge, but these kids they know what they need to do to stay eligible. The schools know how many credits need to transfer. Everyone goes to summer school because they're training all summer, right? They're doing that. I don't know the true effect yet on graduation rate. My guess is that it will take a slight hit, but I can't say now that we have a crisis. I don't have enough data yet to say that. But what I will say, these are smart kids. They're driven. Their ability to adapt to a new place. It's like changing jobs, right? Mm-hmm. And to adapt and become embedded. So they're learning some skills about being able to be accepted and get along and perform and manage in a new environment. It's pretty stressful. And sometimes what I've already experienced, we've been a player's third or fourth school, and we were the one that finally worked. The right place with the right people, the right need at the right time, and their production just took off. And so sometimes a young man is just running from a problem, right? They haven't yet become, and they change colors and they're still the same person, same player. I have seen that too. But there are others that it's a success story. Each time they change, they are adapting and improving. And they finally end up at the place that needed them, wanted them, that they could thrive. And I can't give you the percentage again on that yet, but I have seen that work.
I just had someone from another school who you may end up actually knowing, but they said that they've been tracking the transfers and that the people who transfer at the same level, like say from a Power 4 to a Power 4 school, they're not as likely to be successful. The kids who are D2 to FCS to Group of 5 to Power 4, when people are moving up the ladder, they actually have a higher success rate. That doesn't surprise you. You found the same thing?
No, so I would say just the opposite. And our research says this, that each time a player transfers up, and I'll use, let's just say from the FCS level to Group of 6, or let's say Group of 6 to A4, or whatever terms we want to use. What we found in our data is each time a player transfers up, the number of snaps they play goes down. And that number, so for us, a starter that then moves up. And I know by the amount they're going to be paid if they're bringing them to be a starter or a backup.
Right.
So when a player moves up, what our research suggests is up to 85% of those players, their role diminishes and their play count goes down. And so my research has found just the opposite of what.
Okay.
What we found is players moving down, their role increases and their snap count goes up. And there is exceptions to both, but our research has been just the opposite.
Okay. Well, I'm going to ask more coaches about that until I get to some kind of consensus. Yeah. All right. Hey, Bronco, we appreciate the time. Thanks for joining us and pulling back the curtain on how all this craziness works in off season and how you manage this. I appreciate it a lot.
Right on. Thanks a lot.
Okay. There's Bronco Mendenhall, Utah State football coach. How do they do it? How do they keep track of so many players, so many opponents? Everything's changing all the time. The old dog can learn new tricks. There's the bottom line right there. All right, DJ and PK, got to take a break. When we come back, everything you missed in this show, including the NBA playoffs. We got a Game 7. We'll get to that next. Stay with us.
Hey there, it's Wayfair here, where delivery and setup are as easy as a few taps on your phone. You're relaxing in an old hammock, scrolling Wayfair's app, when you spot it, a brand new patio set. Next thing you know, Wayfair delivers it right to your patio and sets it up. Oh, you need a new grill too? All right, Wayfair's got you covered. With Wayfair's Room of Choice delivery and fast expert setup on qualifying orders, life gets a little easier. Visit wayfair.com or the Wayfair app.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
I drive my bus in a busy city. That's why road safety is so important to me. I know that I must slow down and be extra careful when I make a wide turn. Buses need more room than cars. Everyone can help keep our roads safe. Next time you're driving, remember to give buses plenty of time and space to finish turning before driving ahead. Let's all plan to share the road safely. Learn how at www.sharetheroadsafely.gov.
Make game day yours. Tickets, food and drinks, stats, and streaming. Everything you need is in the Utah Mammoth app. Download today and make game night easy. Download on both Android and iPhone. Tusk Top.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever think about switching insurance companies to see if you could save some cash? Progressive makes it easy. Just drop in some details about yourself and see if you're eligible to save money when you bundle your home and auto policies. The process only takes minutes, and it could mean hundreds more in your pocket. Visit Progressive.com after this episode to see if you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states.
Slacker Radio Headlines brought to you by Trajan Wealth. Call Trajan Wealth today, your local trusted financial fiduciary. Call them at 1-855-TRAJAN1 or visit their website at TrajanWealth.com. Story we didn't talk about earlier this morning. Should have gotten to it. I got too carried away with the 49ers. Should have talked about the Rams and Puka Nacua. He said he is, quote, grateful for the support from the Rams after a civil lawsuit was filed against him in March. Nacua declined to address specifics of the lawsuit. Not surprising. It's ongoing. I did not want to discuss the night in question. He did say, quote, a moment for me to learn from some of the situations I was putting myself in, and then also having just an awareness of how I'm conducting myself in and out of this football field. That doesn't get into specifics, but when I hear that, I think, okay, there's a general awareness, and somebody is talking to him and, in my view, getting him to think about some of the right things, because there were too many incidents. I don't think people who are around Puka in high school and college think of him as a bad kid, but nonetheless, some of the headlines we were hearing after he was off to the NFL, they weren't great. And in some cases, they were a lot less than great. So that he's considering the situations he's putting himself in and how he's conducting himself in and out of the football field, those seem to be good questions, good thoughts for him to have, and a good general awareness. Maybe he'll put himself in some better situations in the future, and he won't have to deal with any of these headlines. And as far as the lawsuit, well, he didn't get into specifics, but it's ongoing, so that'll go where it'll go, and we'll hear about that later. The 49er stuff we were talking about, and the NFL just talks in the offseason. These guys, they want to dominate all 52 weeks a year. And honestly, I think they look at what soccer is in England, where there is no second, third, or fourth best sport. It's like the second, third, and fourth best soccer leagues are the next most important sports. They want that here. We've always had kind of this equality. It's like, I'm seeing the things now, like the NFL makes so much money. They're basically making as much money as the NBA. Not quite, but almost as much money as the NBA and Major League Baseball combined. That is staggering, because the NBA and Major League Baseball aren't exactly short on money. They are not exactly short on cash. But the NFL is just a beast. And they have their guys out there. They probably don't want to do media either, but we got a hockey coach losing a draft pick because he doesn't want to talk after a playoff win. We got an NBA star doesn't want to talk after a playoff loss. What are we doing here, guys? What are you doing to your sports? Hey, maybe you got enough. Maybe it's fine. Maybe that's just the way you want to run things. But George Kittle on the 18-game NFL regular season, he liked 16, but he gets it's more money. He just wants 2 bye weeks, and he makes the excellent point, how beat up do you want your best teams when you get to the playoffs? Like, there's diminishing returns here. But it seems like 18 is inevitable. I think the second bye week is inevitable. I think the end of the season, the Super Bowl is going to move to President's Day weekend, which people in the East have always wanted. The game will probably move later at night because now people don't have to get up and go to work and go to school the next day. So that'll be more money for the NFL. So I think that happens, and it moves up a week at the start of the season. And I expect the college football season will move up a week so that they can have a week to themselves. Will it move up 2 weeks? I think not, but follow the money. Never say never. Nick Bosa says he's pretty far along from his recovering from his torn ACL. He thinks he'll be cleared to participate in camp and be ready for the season. And Christian McCaffrey, accustomed to questions about his workload, 413 touches last season. He's turning 30, and he says it's all about handling that during the week. Game on. That's what you're there for. Game on. Everything else can be addressed during the week as far as lightening a workload and getting his body ready to play. I do think the Niners are getting older. I know those are your guys, Yock, but I think you're aware too. This is an older team. They not only does everyone age a year, but they haven't been drafting great. Those guys haven't really been breaking into the lineup in real numbers, and they had free agents. I couldn't be more impressed with Mike Evans. I've never understood why he isn't a 2,000-yard receiver. He literally seems to catch everything you throw to him, and he's always open when you throw him the ball. Even Tom Brady, I was like, Brady, throw Evans the ball more. Great signing, but Evans is getting older too. And wide receiver is a hard position to play as you get older.
Well, and you're right. The roster is, we'll call it veteran for the San Francisco
That's the most
49ers.
positive thing you can say. And with the Rams and Seahawks in the division, I can see them making the playoffs. It's hard to see much of a way forward once they do.
Yeah, the window here is quite small for them if they're going to navigate it. But you're right, I got Christian McCaffrey. If you get Nick Bosa back, these guys know that the timeline.
It's now.
It's now.
It's when I was a kid,
Yeah.
there was a guy named George Allen coaching in Washington, and he used to say the future is now. And he would trade away draft picks and bring in veterans. He's trying to win now.
Well, that's kind of what the Rams have been doing.
Because they got a quarterback who's got a year or two left. So,
but your point is well taken.
The future is now. The future is right now for the San Antonio Spurs. The team of the future has forced a Game 7. The Thunder, who are going to have a dynasty. Who's going to stop them? Wembanyama had a good game, and he's the story, and he's the star, and the NBA is about celebrity and about stars, but I could not be more impressed with the stat lines that I saw out of a couple of guys who are younger. Well done, Dylan Harper. Excellent. That was the game they had to have out of you, and they got it. And well done, I thought Stephen Castle. He was... That dude was coughing the ball up 9, 10, 11 times a game early in this series, and it was costing his team. He had 1 turnover in 32 minutes, and he wasn't hiding from the game. 17 points, 5 rebounds, 9 assists. He's right in the middle of everything. That stat line, and the free throws, come on, how many big free throws have you seen missed in big NBA games? Now, this game did get out of hand, which takes some of the pressure off the free throws, but nonetheless, all you can do is make the ones that you get. And Castle and Harper combined to go 11 of 12. Castle missed 1. He was 7 of 8, but Harper was 4 of 4. There was an advantage in rebounding for Oklahoma City. They didn't have that in Game 5. They turned that around. There was an advantage in free throws. They didn't have that in Game 5. They turned it around at home in Game 6. Not surprising. The home team would get more free throws. It was 25-12. I think the Spurs were minus 7 or 8 at the free throw line in attempts in Game 5. So we'll see how Game 7 is refereed. That's obviously a part of it. The Thunder have been really good in Game 7. They have to mess one up at some point, don't they? Game 7 used to be a borderline lock at home, and I think with the advent of the three-point shot, we've seen over the last 5-10 years, we've seen a few more teams break and throw on the road in Game 7. This is doable for the Spurs. I picked the Thunder at the start. No reason to change horses now, but the Spurs, I never thought the Spurs were going to beat the Thunder in a short series. The Spurs' only path forward was to win a long series. They've got it to a Game 7. Can they do it? Tomorrow night, NBC, gear up, 6 o'clock. Let's go. Game 7. The Knicks await. Although not all of the Knicks await, because Mitchell Robinson broke his pinky finger on his right hand. No timeline for his return.
Actually, so we do have an update.
What? We got an update? What's the update?
So this morning he's had surgery on it, and he does plan to play in Game 1 Wednesday night in the NBA Finals, albeit he will be in a brace / whatever you want, a splint to protect it.
So I don't know about this case because obviously this just happened. That's why you know about it and I don't. This has changed in the last 2.5 hours here. But with the pinky, can they brace it and put it next to the ring finger?
Buddy tape it.
Yeah, buddy tape, buddy brace, whatever.
I think the term they use is a brace. Now, brace can be across a number of different methods.
Well, put the brace on and tape the other finger next to the brace.
So
the pinky, it's not the index finger, but it's not nothing either.
Yeah, so they're planning on him playing Game 1.
And then if you get hit on it, I mean, you can plan to play in it, but 5 minutes in, can you still go?
It's a pain threshold thing at that point in some cases.
Yeah, and they can numb it, but then when your hand is numb, can you catch the ball, right? It's all the stuff that works in football doesn't automatically work in basketball, you know? If the linebacker drops an interception, that's too bad, but he can still do a lot of stuff. If Mitchell Robinson can't catch the ball, that's a lot of turnovers. We had Mitch Harper on from the Big 12 meetings. A lot of stuff. Mitch covers BYU, but a lot of what he said was league-wide info, so it appeals to you Ute fans, too. I know you probably typically aren't clicking on his stuff, but I think in this case you could. He was talking about 10-game conference seasons instead of 9. He was talking about working on the TV deal. He was talking about the league's attitude towards the 2014 playoff, the basketball going to 20 games. A lot of it was league-type stuff today. Good stuff from him in Frisco, Texas at the league meetings. Get that wherever you get your podcasts. Bronco Mendenhall just on talking about the offseason, Bronco computerizing everything. Old dog, new tricks. Got to keep up in a world in college football where everything is changing very, very quickly. Wherever you get your podcasts, you can listen to all those interviews. DJ and PK, Jason Batikow on the Utes and the Otro Capital deal and the state auditor saying there's some potholes in this road right here. If you haven't seen that story, I've got it up on my Facebook page at David DJ James. I think it's up on the DJ and PK page too. So check it out there. And the paywall's down on the Trib now, so a lot easier if you haven't been reading it. A lot easier to read that story. All right, your feedback coming up next. Stay with us. DJ and PK, it is time for your feedback. All the stuff you have to say about today's show. Weigh in. What do you got? Are the Utes making a genius move or a fatal mistake? Where the Utah State Auditor says Utah's private equity deal has significant risks. We had Jason Batikow on from the Salt Lake Tribune. He wrote the story. He got the quotes. He said there's some follow-up stories coming. Patrick takes the middle ground. He says probably somewhere in between, which is often the case when a feast or famine scenario is presented. That said, the athletic departments are worse than governments when it comes to spending. If less spending has to happen for this deal to work, count me as a skeptic. The problem is the less spending may come with just chopping sports. Not tightening up the act here and there and, discipline and details, and more just like Arkansas. Tennis is gone. At which point Arkansas boosters, stepped in and rescued the program and it's back. But that's not happening at every school. We're seeing tennis get dropped at multiple schools. Vegas Ute, I'm not opposed to fair questions, but I look at your tweets regarding BYU and those regarding Utah. How do you it looks? Completely even-handed, right? How do you it looks? Does that mean, how does it look to me? Yeah, actually it does look completely even-handed. Vegas Ute, this is the same stuff I heard from Cougar fans about 4 years ago, 3-4 years ago when BYU was 5-7 and Utah was going to the Rose Bowl. Cougar fans, your questions aren't fair. Didn't follow the headlines. The state auditor issued a report. You don't like the questions? I don't know what to tell you. I didn't cut the outro deal, and I didn't write the state auditor report. I got questions. I haven't even read the state auditor report. That's what we had on the guy who had read it and wrote the story. I assume the Utes will get it together and win games, and then we'll have a bunch of positive questions about the Utes. But today, it is what it is. The anonymous quote with BYU, was what it was. That's what somebody was saying about BYU and why we're talking about them all positively. We got a little swamp today. I just saw, and the stuff's getting released over time. I don't know when you saw it, Yak, but during the interview with Bronco, I saw the anonymous quote about the Utes. Did you see it?
So here's the thing. These anonymous quotes, they've come from Athlon Sports.
And they're letting them trickle out. And
they've actually, but the funny thing is, they're trickling out, but they also made a bulk release of them like a week and a half ago, I found out.
And that one somehow escaped notice.
I guess.
Didn't go viral. We didn't catch on. Happy that Whittingham is gone. Happy that guy's out of here.
Yeah, no, that one was in this.
Couldn't find a way to kick that guy's butt. Glad he went to Michigan.
Yeah, there was a whole piece where they put all the Big 12 quotes together, and that was so. I don't know how we missed it, but yeah. So
Jason,
yeah, it's a good point though.
Jason Batikow came on, and he's from Oklahoma, and he just loved the fact that we have Barry Trammell on, and he loves the fact that we love Barry Trammell and we have him on. And you remember when Barry Trammell came on after that? Someone at Utah just paid the school legend $13 million to go away. And now they're short on money. And he's going to get a statue one day. He is. They're going to do something one day. But they paid him $13 million. They didn't just make him go away. They paid him $13 million to go away. Barry went nuts on that. Jack, I don't like it. The same people wanted to demo the Huntsman, now doing this. It tells me they have bad judgment. Jack does not like the Otro Capital deal. And the Huntsman, to be fair, okay, I didn't like to talk about demoing either. So I'm with you there, Jack. But when you're going to make a decision that big, that costs that much money, I am definitely up for examining all of the alternatives. Now, it does sound like due to money, they've settled on refurbishing Huntsman rather than building something new. So I can't really crack on them for examining all the alternatives because you want people to do their homework. And then they pick the one that I think was the best one all along. I get the process frustrated you because at some point you thought they were going to go in the wrong direction, but they ended up going in the right direction. After considering multiple possibilities, I can't say that's a horrible idea. And I think there's a lot of money to be made in the Huntsman Center if the team can just be NCAA caliber. They don't have to be Houston, Arizona, going to Final Fours like they did when Alex played in 98. Just winning 20 games and getting in the NCAA tournament combined with a refurbished arena that has space for people to eat before games, because I am seeing people at Jazz games, at Mammoth games, and at RSL games paying top dollar and really moving the needle financially for the club. If the Utes can get that in the Huntsman Center, and I think they've already got it at Rice-Eccles, and I think BYU's got it at Lavelle Edwards Stadium. I don't think our local college basketball teams have that. I don't know, what are they doing for BYU basketball? Do they have space adjacent to the Marriott Center? Have they figured out a way to do that?
They need to find something.
Yeah, they do, because there's money in that. I don't think the college basketball teams have maximized that yet.
BYU, the crazy thing is their basketball tickets went faster than their football tickets did a season ago.
Well, there's fewer of them, and there's a tremendous amount of
hype. But
which, even though they didn't get the results in the NCAA tournament or in the standings, the games and what the star player delivered did match the hype. So the people got the entertainment value. They didn't get the W's. But they'll pay more when there's dinner before the game in some private club.
Hello.
They will. Now, I've seen it happen 3 times.
I do know
Utahns are 3 for 3 paying for that stuff.
I know we got to go here, but the one thing, BYU uses that annex right next to the Marriott Center as kind of that club area.
Right, and I didn't know to what degree. I haven't been privy to that.
The entire court is littered with tables and whatnot.
So that gets some people in, but there's more of a market. They need more space. All right, DJ and PK coming up next. Scotty G returns, and the coach Tim Lacombe. Stay with us.
I drive my bus in a busy city. That's why road safety is so important to me. I know that I must slow down and be extra careful when I make a wide turn. Buses need more room than cars. Everyone can help keep our roads safe. Next time you're driving, remember to give buses plenty of time and space to finish turning before driving ahead. Let's all plan to share the road safely. Learn how at www.sharetheroadsafely.gov.
Summer is all about freedom, fun, and growing up. And between the ages of 9 and 13, kids are starting to form their views about alcohol. With more independence, their still developing brains need more guidance and support than ever. That's why summer is the perfect time to stay connected and plan fun, safe family activities together. Research shows kids who spend quality time with their parents doing what they enjoy are less likely to drink underage. And when kids feel close to you, they're more likely to listen, especially when you set clear expectations. In fact, kids who drink before 15 are far more likely to struggle with alcohol later. This summer, create a no-bummer summer with fun, alcohol-free activities for your kids. Go to summer.parentsempowered.org to take a quick quiz and discover ideas tailored to your family. A little time together can make a big difference. For more information and to learn more about how to prevent underage drinking, visit parentsempowered.org.